Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So today we are going to talk about your value plan, opportunities to increase revenue and decrease expenses. So number one, increase rent. This seems to be the obvious option. However, it is key to have a rent raise strategy. When you take over a property, don't assume you can just increase rent day one without providing some kind of value. Also, increasing rent may have an adverse effect on vacancy, so you must account for this in your underwriting. Lastly, rent increases will rely heavily on the renewal of leases and your current vacancies. So make sure to be clear on what the picture will look like day one of takeover. Add RUBS. RUBS are ratio utility building system. It is a way to build back tenants for their utility use. Utility bills can be one of the largest bills on a property, especially if it's an all owners paid property. The ability to bill back tenants for a portion of the utility bill can have dramatic positive effects on your NOI. Beware to check if the market dictates this. Thinking you can add this to your equation when all the comps have owners paying all utilities may be an uphill battle. Trash valet. So for certain class properties, adding a trash valet for a set fee per month can definitely add to your bottom line. This can be key in large properties where the walk to the dumpster for certain units can be quite far. Beware to underwrite for extra income versus the need for possible extra hire and where the break even is. Carports. It's really interesting. Jason and I were just looking at comps for a property here in Nashville, and all the other comps had either garages or carports. The particular property that we were looking at did not. So this might be a great value add if we get this property. So carports in heavily sunned areas like Texas and Florida and Tennessee, a carport can be a desired amenity. If they do not exist currently, price out what the cost of the build to build is and what the return on your investment will be year over year. So backyard fences, another amazing add-on if you have the space. If you have units that open up into a common area building, small fenced backyards can be a nice touch. This can especially add value if the tenants have pets. Building the small fence can cost very little, while the upcharge can be well over $100 per month, $100 a unit per month. That's a serious ROI. Balconies, like backyard fences, balconies also add a desired touch to apartment units that can garner a rent premium versus other units in the community. Make sure to have rules in place for what is allowed for barbecues. Also, check to make sure this aligns with the rules of the local fire department. Washer and dryer hookups. Adding hookups to units can be a huge upscale. This is reminding me to my first New York apartment versus my last New York apartment. My first New York apartment, I actually had to walk 3 huge, and this is avenue to avenue blocks to get to the local laundromat. My last one had, units in the apartment, huge difference. So definitely an upcharge, but definitely an amenity that your tenants will love. So washer and dryer hookups, adding hookups to units can be a huge plus as an upscale. You can charge a rent premium for these units and also rent washers and dryers to tenants. Separately metered utilities. In master metered properties, there may be an opportunity to separate the utilities and have each tenant responsible for their own utilities. Again, make sure this works in the submarket. What does this do versus RUBS? You will be able to put all the responsibility on the tenants and no longer need to bill tenants for only a portion of the utility bills. Also, in areas where payments can be hard to get, this will be the responsibility on the utility company to receive that payment. Pet fees. So the first property we ever took over said no pets. Of course, we go in and 6 or 7 tenants already had pets in the properties. So we decided to say, you can have pets, but now you're going to have to pay a pet fee. Are you allowing pets at your property? If you are not charging a fee, you are missing out. People love their pets and will pay a premium to make sure their furry friend can join them. Make sure you charge a deposit and a monthly pet fee. Past this, limit the breeds that are acceptable. You can ask your insurance carrier for breeds that may cause an uptick in insurance. Move-in fees. Everyone is always worried about how much deposit they will get back. In certain areas, they may pay to remove the deposit altogether and put in a one-time move-in fee for preparing the unit for the new tenant. Charge slightly less the deposit and add on a surety bond paid by the tenant to cover any extreme costs that may come up when the tenant vacates. Late fees. Charge them. Don't be lenient on timeline. If you allow someone to pay late one time without a fee, expect it to happen again. Also, having no late fees is not necessarily a good thing. We have one property where a group of tenants pay routinely a late fee every month. The total is an extra 50 grand of income a year. If I push those tenants to pay on time, we would miss out on all that extra income. They just know that they're going to pay late. So they take the fee and they roll with it. Application fees. Charge them and make sure to have guidelines to ensure you are putting proper tenants into your complex. Making exceptions to drive up occupancy most certainly will backfire and possibly haunt you for months. Past felonies and evictions can surely be a red flag. Pool and gym fees. In certain class apartments, a fee can be charged monthly for the use of these amenities. Reserved parking fees. At large complexes or complexes with limited space, it can be very desirable to have a reserved space. Especially after a long day, a tenant will pay a premium not to have to come back and spend a half hour looking for parking or having to park on the other side of a complex and walk half a mile with groceries. Dog parks and dog washes. Beyond pet fees, these can be a nice touch to add to your complex. These can also add an element of community to your complex. Cable contracts. For complexes, it can be common to add cable contract to the complex. Cable companies vie for the ability to have a complex be solely dedicated to their service. The main options are bulk and non-bulk. We prefer non-bulk because the tenants pay for the service. Bulk options may garner you a large one-time fee from the provider, but you pay for all the units whether a tenant signs up or not. That includes vacant units, and then you are responsible for getting paid by the tenants. Not so good. Rent concessions for long-term leases. We don't like to give concessions, but if we can have a tenant lock into a long-term lease, we may consider it. Remember, one of the biggest expenses is tenant turnover. So charging $15 a month below market rent, but having a tenant stay 2 or 3 years may outweigh the possibility of losing the tenant after 12 months and having a rent-ready bill that stacks up to a few $1,000s. Water savings program. For mastered metered properties where billing back can be difficult, consider a water savings program. Replace toilets for low E-flush toilets and replace shower heads and faucets with aerators, and the savings can mount. We are currently seeing a 30% reduction at our water bill at certain properties. Green initiative programs. Make sure to check with your lender and local officials to see how putting together a green initiative program can benefit your property. You may be able to get a rate reduction or any tax incentives. Common room rental. Have a large leasing office or common space? You should consider creating a hall that can be rented out for functions. This can create a great sense of community and also be an easy way to make some extra income with a space that was previously void. Storage units. If you have a basement or other area that is just a void of space, create storage units. Apartments can be tight, and we all are notorious for having too much stuff. We did this at one of our complexes. It cost $275 for each storage unit, and we are getting $20 a month premium. That's an 87% return on investment. Not bad. Bike rental, car rental, Uber station. Offering options for tenants to travel can be a very thoughtful way to attract and keep tenants. Make sure proper insurance is in place and that your tenants are properly licensed and insured if renting vehicles. Energy audit. You can audit energy in any state. Don't worry about regulated versus deregulated to just look at the total energy picture, such as LED lighting and RTU controls. A great starting point for any new account review is to review their latest 1 month's electric and gas bills and water and waste bills as well. Current contracts. This includes laundry, landscaping, and even trash. See what timeline they are on and always renegotiate for a better deal. Don't just take the deal that they have once the renewal is coming close. Also, if you buy a property with a contract in place, see what you're responsible for at takeover. If the laundry has given a remodel fee to the seller for $10,000 for a 10-year contract, and you buy the property at the end of year 3, then vie for the $7,000 that goes into that remaining 7 years. So I hope this helps you. This is all about value add multifamily, different ways that you can add value to those multifamily buildings that we are all looking at. Have an amazing day. You are awesome. So grateful to you for listening today. Aloha.